with Magellan College Counseling, back to talk with you and one of our counselors. This is Diana Hanson, and I wanted to give Diana a chance to give you a little bit of her background so you could see a little bit about why she does what we do and what she enjoys about it, and get a little bit of a feel for what it's like to work with her. So Diana, thanks for talking with me today.
Thank you very much.
I feel like a news anchor here. So tell me a little bit about your background and how you became a college counselor.
Okay, so I started off with an intention of becoming an English professor. Did my undergrad and grad at UCLA in English, planning to teach English at the college level. As often happens for many of us, life got in the way and my plans kind of changed. But education's always been kind of my top priority. I got into college counseling for a variety of reasons, as many people do. First, it was my kids. My younger son has dyslexia, and seeing sort of his struggles as he started the process, as well as some of his friends. He was also a baseball and soccer player, and so I wanted to play in college. And so I started doing lots of research, which is one of my favorite things to do, and helping him find colleges that would be a good fit for him, both for the learning differences and for athletics. And so helped him with his whole process. And then all of his friends, mostly from the baseball team, started asking for help, and I started working with some of them. And that prompted me to go back to UCLA, get my certificate in college counseling, because I really saw a need for more help beyond what high schools are able to give, especially for students with any kind of like add-on stuff, as well as kids with low income, kids who are underserved. I was seeing like some of his friends from baseball who just had no one to turn to. I started doing programs at the library, the local library, to kind of bring the information that oftentimes kids from college educated families know and first gen kids do not. And so I started doing those programs, and the more I worked with different kinds of kids, the more I loved doing it and decided to go full time. So that's kind of the background.
Fabulous. And so what's your favorite type of student to work with? Who do you work really well with?
I actually work pretty well with everybody. I do love the population of kids with learning disabilities. I love the population of kids who want to play sports in school at whatever level. I love working with kids who are open to finding their best fit college. And we use that term a lot, I know, but what that means to me is that their student is going to be happy. They're going to get a great education. They're going to find their people. So they'll be socially happy, academically happy, and the parents will be financially happy because it will be a good fit for them financially.
Yep. And I think a lot of us talk about that fit and the exploration process, but at the same time, we are often contacted by families who are very sure that their high performing student really deserves, top shelf colleges. And you've had a lot of those as well.
Yes, I have. Absolutely. And we always want kids to reach to whatever colleges they are interested in reaching to, but we also want them to have other colleges on their list that are more of a sure thing. And the most important thing is that they would love those colleges, those safer schools, as much as they would love the high flyer school.
Right.
And I want them to know why they love the high flyer school. Because, for example, somebody who loves Columbia is not going to love Brown, and vice versa.
Right. And sometimes parents come to us with names like you just mentioned in mind. And as we go through the exploration process, they start to realize that some of those colleges don't give merit money. And so, some of those safer schools are the ones where you would end up bringing the price down. And sometimes that's part of the calculation.
Yes, absolutely. As well as whether a student's potential career needs them to go to grad school.
Right.
Because that I like to also look the long view. If you're going to go to grad school,
right.
You don't want to spend necessarily $80,000 a year for undergrad when you're going to be paying for a master's or med school or vet school or something like that.
Right.
So I think the most common misconception is that if you don't go to a quote name brand school, you won't get into a high flyer grad school. And
Right.
actually, it's pretty much the opposite.
Right.
We've been even told, I recently went to a program for pre-med where the med school was saying that they would rather have a 4.0 kid from, and I won't name schools, but a very like average, easy to get into school for a decent student than
Interesting.
from this other name brand school with a 3.5 or a 3.6,
Interesting.
because they want the experiences that your student has.
Right.
Did they go out and work with professors? Did they do research? Like it's more what they do while in college than the name.
Yep.
Ultimately,
Yep.
for pretty much everything.
For pretty much everything. Yeah. Very true. Very true. What's your favorite part of the college application process? And the people who come to our website generally know that we treat the process in two phases, right? The college search phase and then the application phase. So what parts do you like to do with students?
I love the exploration phase because I love seeing light bulbs go on
Yep.
in students' minds as they discover things about themselves and about the schools.
Yeah.
But I also love working with kids on the essays, because it's the old English professor in me. I love watching them grow in their writing skills and learn how to talk about themselves in a way that's interesting, or at least as interesting as they can.
Yep.
And like finding their voice.
Yep. Yep. And I love the way that our team does essays,
Yes.
in that, or you talk about it for a little bit.
So we work individually and as a team. So, if I have a student who's, I feel a certain way about an essay, or I feel like it's ready or not ready, I always know I can pass that essay through to other members of our team who may know more about a particular college and can vet that essay for how might this be received somewhere else. So we use one another as sort of a team for essay, not necessarily for writing. Usually it's most often it's the student and their individual counselor, at least for the first draft, but we use each other as sort of a reading group to be able to provide feedback as if it were in the situation when it's actually being read by a college admissions person and their staff.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And the role Diana plays in our team is she is our grammar expert, one of our grammar experts. So that's whenever anyone has a grammar question, they throw that out at Diana and say, "Hey, what's the right? Do I underline this, or
A semicolon. Yeah.
Where does the comma go?"
And I'm forcing myself to be a little more lax in that as rules get relaxed.
Yeah. Which is frustrating for those of us who think grammar rules do not change.
I think that working with a few students from other countries where they have different punctuation rules, it led me to realize just how arbitrary it is.
Yeah, it's true.
That being said, I still care a lot that you write clearly, that my students write clearly and well, and use properly.
Yeah. So the writing and the researching. If you could give a piece of advice to a family as they're just getting started with this process, maybe late 10th grade, early 11th grade, what would you want them to know?
Kind of some of what we just talked about, that the name of the college means nothing. It's finding your people. I would suggest that they start early visiting if they can. Any vacation you take, if there are colleges in the area, if they don't have the means to travel right away, I suggest going to local colleges, a big public, big or medium-sized private, a state school, a private school, liberal arts school, just to get a sense of where you feel most comfortable. And if your high school allows the sophomores to go visit when college reps come to campus, sometimes they do, go to some of those so you hear from colleges what it's like.
Great advice.
Another one, sorry, don't think you have to do 20 extracurricular activities.
Yes, that's great advice.
In 9th grade and early 10th grade, try a bunch of things. If you don't already have a passion, try a bunch of different clubs. But by the end of 10th grade, over the summer and then going into 11th and 12th, much better to focus on a couple things you love
Yeah.
and go deeper into them
Yep.
than to scattershot
Yep.
your extracurriculars.
That's really, really good advice. Yeah. I have people ask me all the time, do I have to get a job? Does he have to get a job? Does he have to do any volunteering? And I say exactly what you said. You know, they don't have to do everything. It's not like checking all the boxes. It's checking a few of the boxes, but go really deep.
Again, that's for helping you find your passions.
Very true. Very true. Really good advice, especially like you said, if you're starting to think about your college path in ninth grade. Very good advice. Well, this has been really helpful, and I think we gave people a little feel for what you enjoy and what you're really good at. And there you have it. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much.